and welcome to the football preview show here on GameTimePA-TV. I'm your host, John Buffone, and throughout this episode, we'll be checking in with all of our GameTime PA reporters to break down the most interesting matchups in their area. Let's start right here in Lancaster, where the premier matchup of the week is Cocalico at LampeterStrasburg. The Eagles have to be flying high after opening up section play last week with a 50-6 victory over Lebanon, in which they ran for over 430 yards and averaged almost 10 yards per carry. Meanwhile, LS gave up almost 350 yards on the ground to Cocalico, so this equation clearly favors the Eagles. However, the Pioneers always have an ace up their sleeve when Colin Bearshank steps on the field at quarterback. With both of these teams taking pride in their physical play, this could be described as a black and blue affair. Now let's see what's going on in the rest of South Central PA.
I'm Zach Miller from the Evening Sun in Hanover, and our game of the week is York Catholic at Hanover. It's the only game of the week where both teams come into the game with a 1-0 record in York Adams Division III, so first place is on the line. York Catholic earned its first win of the year last week against Dillon Catholic on a dramatic 29-24 win in the final minutes. Hanover, meanwhile, is 4-0. They beat Bermudian Springs last week 22-14. Hanover quarterback Kyle Crowder is having a great year. He's third in the York Adams League in passing. He's got 724 passing yards, and he's looking to keep it going as Hanover looks to stay undefeated this weekend.
This is Brandon Stoneberg, the York Daily Record. It's raining here in York County. It's supposed to be raining Friday night, but hopefully that won't slow down our game of the week. We got Red Lion traveling to Northeastern this week, the two top teams right now in Division I. Northeastern's yet to lose, and they just made a big statement with a 42-0 win over Central York. Red Lions 3-1, and their only loss was a last-second loss to Manheim Township, a pretty big school coming out from the Lancaster area. Both schools look very impressive. The number 1 and number 2 ranked offenses in the league right now. Both teams have top 6 defenses in the league right now. Red Lion has the top 2 rushers in the league right now. All kinds of storylines. We're excited for Friday night. It should be a good one in Northeastern.
I'm Sean Michael with Game Time PA's Franklin-Fulton, and we have a huge division game this week when East Pennsboro visits Greencastle. Greencastle is 4-0 with a 1-0 record in the division, and while East Penn is 3-1, they too are 1-0 in the division and are coming off an impressive win over Shippensburg with a 50-7 victory last week. Greencastle got off to a fast start last week, but had to hold off Big Spring for a 29-23 win. James Hines led the rushing attack with 97 yards, and quarterback Spencer Myers threw for 103 yards and had 2 touchdowns. But the biggest key for the Blue Devils this week will be defense, and finding a way to stop an East Penn offense that had over 500 yards last week. If the Devils can find a way to slow down the Panther attack and limit penalties, where they're averaging over 9 a game, they could have a chance to knock off the defending division champs.
Week 5 here in Lebanon brings about 2 critical Section 3 matchups, beginning with Elko at Annville-Cleona and later on Northern Lebanon at Pequay Valley. Pat, I'm going to be overseeing the Raiders and Little Dutchmen go at it. The Raiders picking up their first win of the season just last week, while the Dutchmen took down their first loss, looking to avoid that 0-2 hole in Section 3. What's going to be the key there?
It's going to be Annville's ability to bounce back from what happened last week, and Elko, of course, to stay on track after getting their first win.
I think that running game is going to be very important, as it should be for Northern Lebanon down in Pequay Valley. I saw the Braves last week, gave the Raiders a really good test through 3 quarters, but then, of course, Elko pulled away. Think there's any chance that they're able to pull out a win against the Vikings on Friday?
I think there's a chance, but I really like the way Northern Lebanon's playing right now. I think they'll get it going.
That'll do it here for Lebanon. Send it back down to John in Lancaster.
Well, that about wraps up this week. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter for updates on all your favorite games. And as always, enjoy the games this weekend.